Let's get to the big story. Tonight's big story, cap and trade 3.0. And yes, you heard that right. The governor is bringing it back, but this time the legislature won't have anything to do with it. So first, there's a big backstory here. So let's get you up to speed on just how divisive this issue has been in Oregon for years. Oregon lawmakers have been trying to pass a cap and trade bill for almost 15 years. So how did we get here? The first one in 2007 was actually sponsored by both a Democrat and a Republican, but it failed. Cap and trade again failed in 2009, and other versions of the program have failed every year since 2015. In 2019, it seemed like the Democrats' supermajority would be enough to get it passed, but Republicans had a Hail Mary, beating the system by walking out and stopping a vote. Governor Kate Brown sent the state police to bring them back, but at least some senators left the state, so police couldn't get them. Republicans eventually came back on their own when Democrats announced they no longer had the votes needed to pass cap and trade. So last year, they tried again with a new bill that Democrats said would be better for rural Oregonians. But once again, as expected, Republicans left. This time, Democrats didn't send police after them. They just let the clock run out, then ended the session early.
The House is adjourned.
Now, Governor Brown is following through with her promise to take executive action during her last year in office. And that's how we got here. Okay, so now we're caught up. So what exactly is that executive action again? Well, next week, a group called the Environmental Quality Commission is expected to approve the latest attempt to slash greenhouse gases. And members of that commission were appointed by the governor. So Pat Doris talked with her about the plan, and he has a look at what it'll mean for businesses, also likely for you, the consumer.
The new plan to attack greenhouse gases is called the Climate Protection Program. It's a sweeping set of new rules that would require everyone from Intel to Northwest Natural Gas to the company you buy gasoline from and many others to cut their greenhouse emissions significantly. And yes, it will probably cost you money when the companies pass at least part of the cost on to consumers. This chart shows the reduction path, starting with the company's average pollution level from 2017 through 2019, then requiring the company to cut that amount in half by 2035, just 14 years from now, and by 90% by the year 2050.
It's so important that we do this because we can meet our climate goals and create clean energy jobs and grow our economy at the same time.
Governor Kate Brown, just back from the International Global Warming meeting in Scotland, told me it is urgent.
So it's critically important that we take action, and the Climate Protection Program can result in dramatic reductions in greenhouse gas emissions throughout Oregon.
Exactly how that would happen is complicated. There will be reports and studies required and ways to avoid fines. You can read the program for yourself on the Commission's website. You might want to bring some coffee. It's 364 pages long.
It does reduce carbon emissions over time through a regulatory mechanism. We had over 7,000 comments on these rules. We had a very robust public process. Obviously, this was building on the work that was done in the legislature on the cap and invest legislation. And we anticipate, assuming the Environmental Quality Commission approves these rules, we anticipate a 2022 start date.
Okay. And is there really any doubt? Don't you appoint all the members of that commission?
I do, but they are doing their homework. They will certainly listen and review the public record and make their own decisions.
But it will be much easier to get the 5 members of the commission to support the program than it was 90 lawmakers. And just a political question, I can hear folks from the rural communities, maybe from the right, saying that we have a legislative process, we have a way for this to work its way through the representatives of the people, and that by doing the rulemaking, you're doing an end around to get what you want.
Well, I would just say we had an opportunity. We had 2 sessions where we had robust conversations on the cap and invest legislation that would created a fund to make specific investments in our rural communities, our communities of color and low-income communities. It was Republicans who walked off the job during that process. So I am using the tool that I told the legislature and I told the Oregonians I would use, and that is well within my executive authority.
Okay, KGW's Pat Doris joining us now. So Pat, Governor Brown clearly not mincing words there. You talked about people who will disagree with what she wants to do. What are you hearing from the opposition?
Well, Oregon's largest business organized group is called Oregon Business Industry, and they do not like this at all. They put in multi-page protest at the end of the review process, and they're saying that, look, the state says this will have a slightly positive economic impact. In fact, their experts say it's just the opposite, that it'll be like a $10 billion body blow. So they're quite concerned, and they're trying to keep this from happening. But there is a lot of momentum behind it, and I think it's a good bet it's going to go.
All right. Pat Doris with the insight from Governor Brown there. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Let's keep this chat with Governor Brown going, but a warning, things are about to get a little spicy. You see, that interview that you just saw between Pat and Governor Brown, that happened last week, and Pat got 45 minutes with the governor. They talked about several different topics, and among them, as you heard alluded to in that piece, she had a recent trip to a UN climate conference in Scotland, where the governor said this about having dinner with that country's first minister.
She's like the governor or the president of Scotland. She's a total and complete badass. And she is so committed to moving.
We never heard her say that before. I just wanted to point that out. She even made Pat giggle. Keep in mind, Pat's heard that language before. The guy works in a newsroom. But, you know, frankly, we appreciate the governor's candid comments. We love it when any elected official gives their unfiltered take. It's refreshing, it's honest, and we know you, the constituents, appreciate it too when they just kind of get real with us.